stated when I got in your car, you weren't looking at me. You weren't looking at me, correct?
That's correct.
When I got in that car, did I hit you? Did I put my hands on you?
No.
Did I have an opportunity to put my hands on you?
Yes.
Did I shoot you with that gun?
No.
Did I have an opportunity to shoot you with that gun?
Yes.
Did I disrespect you in any way as far as like cussing you out, anything derogatory towards you, ma'am?
No.
I assume you know why we're here.
Yes.
As far as circumstances, do you think I'm trying to hurt you?
No.
I told you that you recall me telling you, hey, I'm going to put your car in and you're going to get it back.
Yes.
I didn't try to force you to stay with me to use you as a shield to protect you from what I'm doing.
No, you did not.
Did I have an opportunity to force you to stay with me and use you as a shield or something?
Yes.
You stated that I didn't appear to be on no alcohol, no drug. Isn't that correct, ma'am?
That's correct.
Did you see me with any cocaine or anything when I got in your car?
No.
Did you see me pull some cocaine out and put it in your car?
No.
This alleged cocaine they found in your car, you don't know where it come from.
No, I do not.
They did find your car.
Yes.
I told you, you recall me telling you that you were going to get your car back.
Yes.
When I first got in your car, you called me telling you, hey, I'm running from the police.
Yes.
You didn't know what happened that made me run from the police, did you?
No.
No further question. I just apologize to you again, man.
Okay.
Would you right?
Yes. Ms. Lumpkin, did the defendant take your vehicle with the use of a handgun?
Yes.
Were you wanting to give away your mom's car?
No.
Under the circumstances, did it appear that he used your vehicle to escape from the police?
Yes.
And did he accomplish that goal by taking your mother's car away from you?
Yes.
Did this incident cause you some fear and anxiety when it occurred?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
All right, I'm gonna go down. We'll call your next witness.
Your Honor, the state would call Detective David Morris.
In your honor, just for the record, may she be excused?
Any objection?
No, sir, Your Honor.
She's excused.
And Your Honor, while Detective Morris is making his way in, if I could please get exhibits 10, 11, 12, and 14 through 17. Those are all maps. If you raise your right hand, please, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
You can have a seat. Give us just one moment to take a Morris will pull out some maps. And Ms. Davis, I'll have 14 and 16. Actually, if I could just have
It's
10.
10, 11, I know
10
which
would be
one.
fine. You don't have to pull the big one.
Okay.
Thank you.
10, 12.
And Detective Norris, if you'll state your name for the record and spell your last name for the court reporter, please, sir.
My name is David Norris. Last name is spelled Norris.
And Detective Norris, are you currently employed by the Athens Clarke County Police Department?
I am.
How long have you worked there?
I've been with the police department for 18 years.
What did you do prior to working for the police department here in Athens Clarke County?
I work for the Clarke County Sheriff's Department.
Have you had any other experience in law enforcement other than with those two entities?
I have not.
And what did you do before you worked for the sheriff's office then?
I was in the military.
For how long did you serve?
4 years.
In which division or branch?
United States Navy.
And are you married, Detective Norris?
I am.
And do you have any kids?
I do.
How long have you been married?
15 years.
And how many kids do you have?
2 kids.
All right. And what do you currently do for the Athens Clarke County Police Department?
I'm currently a sergeant supervising the robbery homicide unit.
And what other types of things have you done in the 15 or so years that you've worked for the police department?
I worked uniform patrol. I worked, then when I got moved to a detective, I believe it was in 2004, I stayed with the burglary unit. I was there till about 2009 when I got moved to the robbery homicide unit as a detective. I got promoted to sergeant in 2011, and I went to the road as a sergeant for a couple of years, and then got moved back to detectives as a supervisor in 2013.
And were you working, or in which capacity, I should say, were you working on March 22nd, 2011?
I was currently in the robbery homicide unit as a detective.
When you work in that type of capacity, as you go about your business each day, do you wear a uniform or something else?
It depends, but as a general rule, I'm in plain clothes, usually a slacks, a dress shirt, and probably a tie.
And what about your vehicle? Is that a blue and silver police type vehicle, or is it something else?
No, it would be a unmarked car.
And were you in fact on duty on March 22nd, 2011?
I was called in, yes.
And when you say you were called in, does that mean you were supposed to come in that day or no?
I was working later on in the evening, but I received a call to come in earlier in the day.
Do you recall about what time it was that you got a call?
That was sometime after 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Who was it that called you about that?
I believe it was Sergeant Salters,
And just generally, for what type of reason was it that you were called to come in early?
because 2 uniformed officers had been shot and 1 uniformed officer was dead.
And did you in fact come in earlier than you were scheduled to do?
I did.
I understand, Your Honor.
Oh, I do know where it is.
Mike's back.
And I may have to speak up. It sounds like my audio is gone. Can you hear me, Detective Norris?
I can.
Okay. Is that loud enough? And when you came in, approximately what time of the day or evening was it that you came in early?
It's probably getting close to 2 o'clock by the time I got in.
Now, do you drive your unmarked police vehicle home each day or leave it somewhere else?
I leave it at the Georgia Square Mall.
And is there a particular reason why you leave it at the mall?
Not really. That's where I park it at. We've got 2 precincts, one on Lexington Road and one on Atlanta Highway, and I park at the Atlanta Highway.
And did you have to come and retrieve your police vehicle before you went about your business that day?
I did.
And did you in fact do that?
I did.
Once you retrieved your police vehicle, did you go over to the shooting at the scene on Sycamore Drive?
Not initially, no.
And where was it then that you actually wound up going?
I ended up going to Summit Oaks Drive, which is in Watkinsville.
And did you ever even make it to Sycamore before you did that?
I did not.
And why was it that you were sent over to Summit Oaks Drive?
I learned that there had been a hijacking of a motor vehicle, and it was related to the incident that was going on Sycamore Drive. I was advised there was a Oconee County deputy out with the victim of this, and they were requesting either a detective or some type of assistance with that, so I went to that.
Was anybody with you while you were driving over to Summit Oaks from the mall or from that police precinct?
They were not.
And when you say you went over to Summit Oaks Drive, is that in Athens Clarke County or in Oconee County?
It's in Oconee County. I believe it's in Watkinsville.
And why was it that you were sent to a location in Oconee County pertaining to something to do with Athens Clarke County Police business?
That's just where the victim was located at.
And when you arrived, who, if anyone, was there at that? Let me ask you this first, I'm sorry. Is that an apartment complex? Is that a home? What type of residence is that?
I believe this was a single-family residence.
And when you arrived, who, if anyone, was at home?
I spoke with the victim, who was Deborah Lumpkin. I believe there was an Oconee County deputy that was there. I know it was a male, but I don't know what his name was. And I believe there was another female there.
And approximately what time of the day or evening was it when you actually arrived at that residence?
Just an estimate, probably around 2:30 or so in the afternoon. Could have been a little earlier, maybe a few minutes later.
And were you able to observe the demeanor of Miss Deborah Lumpkin?
I was.
How did she appear?
She was upset. I believe we met in the living room of the residence.
And do you know whether that was in fact her residence or was it someone else's residence?
I don't know.
And when you met with her, did you obtain any sort of statement from her?
I did.
And did you obtain that statement while other folks were around, or were y'all alone?
I believe the Oconee County deputy was there. And I believe at one point there was a lady that was walking through the house. She may have been there present for part of it, but I don't know if she was there for the whole thing.
And did you take notes or somehow otherwise record what she said in that statement?
I did. I used a audio recorder.
And what generally did Ms. Lumpkin tell you?
She stated that she had just come from McDonald's on West Broad Street or Atlanta Highway. She stated she was traveling down Epps Bridge Road. She stated she came to a stop and was preparing to turn onto Windy Hill Court. She stated as she was preparing to make that turn, she noticed an individual that was walking towards her vehicle. She says she believed he came from behind some duplexes, but she wasn't sure. She stated that as soon as she saw the individual, she became nervous. But she actually said she started to drive off but did not. She stated the individual walked in front of her car. As he walked in front of her car, he got in the passenger door, sat down in her car. As he did, he produced a black in color handgun from his pants. He pointed it at her, told her to drive, told her do not do anything stupid, said that the police were looking for him. She said he said that a couple of times.
And at some point in time, was she able to exit that vehicle? Did she indicate that to you in any way?
She did. She stated after he gave her the instructions to drive, she stated she did. She stated she made a couple of turns. In her opinion, she assumed she wasn't driving fast enough, and so he told her to stop the car and to get out. She asked him, she said, I need my car. I asked him about the car, and he told her not to worry about the car, that he would put it down and the police would find it later. She stated at that point he drove away.
And was it at that time or some other time that she called police?
I believe she went to a friend's house that was nearby on, I believe the friend was on Windy Hill Way. I believe at some point the friend gave her a ride to the Summit Oaks Drive, but I'm not exactly sure how she got to Summit Oaks Drive where I was meeting her at.
All right, if I could ask you just a few more questions about those locations. First of all, if I can show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 16, Detective Norris. If we could turn the lights. You should still have a laser pointer up there on your, it's right in front of you actually. And if you could, Detective Norris, can you show us, if you know where it was that Ms. Lumpkin indicated to you that she had first seen this individual?
The way that I understood, she was coming down or coming up Epps Bridge Road. This is the road from Atlanta Highway. I believe there's a stop sign right here. She had stopped at the stop sign, and from what I understood, she had already traveled through here and was stopped preparing to turn on to Windy Hill Court when she made the comment that she saw an individual walking. She indicated from the duplexes, there's a set of duplexes that you can see here. I don't believe these are visible from the road. I believe these are more on this road here. But she said she couldn't be sure that that's where he was coming from. And then that's when he walked across in front of her car and got in the vehicle.
And at some point in time, as you discussed all this with her, did she ever indicate to you that she could see that individual's face clearly, or did she say she could not?
At one point, I asked her if she could describe the individual for me. She gave a description of the individual. But in regards to his face, she stated that she was scared to look at him because she didn't want her to think, or she didn't want him to think that she was trying to get a description of him. But she did say she looked at him and kind of from the side.
And as a result of that, what, if anything, did you do after having interviewed her?
After finishing the interview, I asked her if she'd be willing to come and look at some photographs of some individuals. She stated she would, so we went to the West Precinct, which was located at the Georgia Square Mall, and showed her a photographic lineup.
And did Ms. Lumpkin come there in a car with you, in a car by herself, or by some other means?
I believe I gave her a ride, but I'm not 100% on that.
And on the way over there, did you discuss with her in any way the process of looking at a lineup or anything pertaining directly to this case?
If I did, it would have been in regards to more about what happened to her as her car was being taken.
And once y'all arrived at the precinct, was it the east side or the west side precinct y'all went to?
The west side at the Georgia Square Mall.
And once the two of you arrived over there, what, if anything, did you do?
Created a photo lineup.
And can you tell us briefly, actually, if we could turn the lights on for just a couple of minutes, please, Mr. Tharp. When you say that you create a lineup, are you the person who actually physically made a lineup?
We have a program at the police department. Basically, you just enter some information, and then you hit print, and it prints off the lineup. So.
And are you the person who did that in this particular instance?
I am.
And when you do that, do you always find a picture of the person who is the suspect?
Yes, you have to have a picture of the individual that you believe is the suspect, and then put them in the lineup to show it.
Is that picture always a recent or current picture?
No, the database that the police department has, you obviously want to try to use the most current picture, but sometimes you're just not able to do that. You have to use whichever picture would be best. And then the information at the police department, the photographs that line, or at the program that the police department uses, they consist of photographs that can be taken by individuals on the street. They can be booking photos. They can be photos that can be imported some other way that you may find on the computer system. Or they can be driver's license photos. They can be a variety of different types of photos.
And do you always check to make sure that the photo is, in fact, of the person for whom you're searching?
Yes,
And did you do that in this case?
yes.
Were you, at the point in time that you made this lineup, who was the suspect whose photograph you were looking for?
Jamie Hood.
And were you able to obtain a photograph of Mr. Hood?
I was.
And was it a recent photograph or an older photograph?
It was an older photograph.
And did you in fact place that particular photograph in some sort of photographic lineup?
I did.
What, let me strike that and ask you something else. If I could show you State's Exhibit number 703, it's been previously marked. And it's okay to open the envelope and see what's in there, but once you've done that, if you could just tell us if you recognize it.
Already been intended or? Okay, I'm sorry.
Have you had, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you. Have you had a chance to look at that, Detective Norris?
I have.
And do you recognize the document that's within the envelope marked State's Exhibit 703?
I do.
And what is that, please, sir?
There's one document that's stapled together. This is the first on top is a photo lineup admonition that the Athens Clark County Police Department uses. The second is what is kind of commonly referred to as a six-pack lineup, which is basically an array of 6 photographs on a single piece of paper. And then the third piece of paper is it's titled as a lineup ID report. Basically all that is the names of the individual that are displayed in the photographs.
And is it that third piece of paper that you just described that helps you keep up with who is who in the pictures?
That's correct.
And do you generate that at the same time as you generate the six-pack or the lineup itself?
Yes, it's when the lineup's generated and when you print that lineup, it prints off the lineup ID report.
And did you in fact show that particular lineup to Ms. Deborah Lumpkin?
I did.
And let me ask you, before you did that, that first piece of paper in that 3-page document in State 703, did you in any way either read that to her or let her read that?
I provided it to her. I told her I told her it was a photo lineup admonition, and basically it was kind of like a set of instructions for viewing pictures, and provided it with her to read.
And did you watch her take that document and look at it in some way?
I did.
Did she ask you any questions about things she might not have understood about it?
She did not.
Did she give you any sort of indication that she had any problems comprehending what was on that document?
She did not. I actually asked her, down on the document itself, it's got a place for her signature. And part of it is, it says by signing you understand the advisory statement, and I believe when I asked her to sign it, if you understand it, don't have any questions, sign it.
And is on that same document, does it say somewhere what time and where this happened?
It does.
Or did she write that in, or did you write that in?
That's my handwriting.
And did you then show Ms. Lumpkin that lineup?
I did.
And if I could get that back, please, to put on the display. And if I could show you the second page of State 703, please, sir. Are you able to see that adequately either on the overhead or on your screen in front of you?
I am.
And actually, let me ask you this first. Do people always pick out someone out of a photographic array or lineup?
They do not.
And have you had that happen before in your experience in law enforcement?
I have.
Did Ms. Lumpkin, in fact, pick out anyone?
She did identify someone.
And can you use your laser pointer to show us who it is that she picked out, please, or which person on that lineup?
She identified this photo right here.
And do you have any knowledge as to who that photograph is of?
It's a photo of Jamie Hood.
Did she make any other remarks about any of the other individuals in the lineup?
She did.
And what basically did she say about anybody else?
She identified this photograph right here and stated that this complexion of this individual was more consistent to the person that she saw, but it was not that person.
So was she indicating to you that that individual who's to the left of Mr. Hood's photograph had lighter skin, darker skin, or what did she say specifically about the complexion?
She just stated that the complexion appeared more, I don't know what her exact words were, but she stated his complexion was darker and the complexion in this photo was more consistent to the person she saw, but this person was not the person.
Thank you. And just for the record, can you tell us first of all, what number or position is the photograph that she identified?
They're not numbered, but when we refer to them, we've gone through different programs before, and it used to be where they actually had a little number below each picture, like this would be number 1, this one would be number 2 and 3, this would be number 4, this one would be number 5, and this would be number 6. And the numbers actually used to be on the lineups. So when we refer to them, I always refer to it as photo 1, photo 2, photo 3, 4, photo 5, and photo 6.
And just so that we do have it clear on the record, what number was it that she identified and what position does that occupy on your photographic array up there?
Number 5.
And is that the bottom middle photograph?
It is.
And you did tell us that you made a determination, or when you created this photo lineup, that was the picture that you used of Mr. Jamie Hood?
That's correct.
Thank you. Now, Detective Norris, would you agree that there's no handwriting on that photographic lineup itself, those 6 pictures?
Yeah, there's no writing on there.
Did you document or record in some manner which photograph it was that Ms. Lumpkin identified so that you would not mix that up later?
Yeah, the whole lineup process from beginning to the end was recorded on audio recording. And when she would identify a photograph, I asked her, again, as I did a while ago, I went through the number sequence, this photo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, and I asked her which photograph it is that she was identified, and that's when she stated on the audio for me, photograph number 5. And then when she referred to about the complexion, she identified that as photo number 4.
And you mentioned that you recorded your earlier interview with her, but you were also recording the second interview there at the police precinct.
I did.
And once you finished that interview, did you place that recording into evidence or keep it somehow in evidence?
It was attached to the report on a program, iLeads programs, where our reports are collected, I guess you could say.
All right. And have you had the opportunity to review one or both of those audio interviews prior to coming to testify here today?
I have. I've listened to both of them.
And did you place them in some digital form that they could be reproduced in court?
Yeah, they were placed on a CD.
And was that both interviews?
That's correct.
Are they on the same CD?
They are.
And did you place your initials on that compact disc?
I did.
Thank you. And I'm going to show you what is states number 104 and just ask you if you recognize that particular item. And we need to let Mr. Hood see that, I'm sorry, because that one's not been tendered.
It's 704.
It's just one.
I apologize, I misspoke, it is 704. I'm sorry. And is that the disc that you recorded those on?
It is. That's my handwriting on the disc and my initials.
All right, thank you. And let me ask you this, Detective Norris, after you showed that lineup to Ms. Lumpkin, did you do anything else in connection, first of all, with the shooting of Officer Tony Howard and the murder of Officer Buddy Christian?
I did.
Was that on the 22nd of March 2011, or was that on some other date?
It was a collection of days leading up to the arrest of an individual.
And can you just tell us very briefly the types of things that you did during that 3-day period, please, sir?
After meeting with Ms. Lumpkin, I went to the Sycamore Drive location. They had a mobile command center there. Once at the command center, I was tasked with coordinating all incoming calls. I guess you refer to them as tips. There was possible sightings of Jamie Hood. Myself and a GBI agent coordinated all that. There was a large number of law enforcement agencies that came to assist in the investigation and the hunt for the individual responsible. So they were broken up into teams, and we coordinated teams, responded to different phone calls or sightings that were routed in through our 911 center. Did that up until early in the morning, until the call slowed enough for one individual to handle them. They were turned over to another GBI agent. At that time, I believe we was part of the execution of a search warrant at an apartment there in off Sycamore. I believe it was Regency Park Apartments, if I remember correctly. I believe it was an apartment that started with I or Indigo. I don't remember the number. We executed a search warrant there. After that, I believe we went home for a few hours and then came back the next day. And then over the course of the next several days, either fielded incoming calls in reference to tips and sightings, interviewed individuals that may have come forth that said they had information, or went out and actually cleared residences or vehicles or stuff along those lines.
And just a couple of follow-up questions about that. All these tips that you mentioned, you said there were at least 2 people handling that initially?
That's correct. I believe it was myself and GBI agent, Special Agent Trent Hillsman.
Did you yourself ever physically go out and follow up on any of those, or do so by telephone?
I believe we did follow up on a couple of them, but I don't believe, well, I guess, no, the answer would be no on those particular ones, but on the later days when I was not fielding the calls, I was one of the people that whoever was fielding the calls would have sent somebody out. So I believe we did go to a couple of addresses and check those addresses out.
During that several-day time period, did you ever collect any physical evidence pertaining to this case? In response to those tips, for example?
I did not.
And did you ever actually locate Mr. Hood prior to when he was over at Creekstone Drive?
I did not.
And if I could show you exhibit number, what has previously been marked as State's Exhibit number 14, please, sir. I'll just ask you a couple of questions about that. Do you recognize, are you able to see that well enough to recognize the streets on there? Do I need to focus it some more?
No, I can make them out.
And are you familiar with this neighborhood over in here, where Ms. Lumpkin indicated to you that something had happened?
No, ma'am, not really.
Do you have any familiarity with this area behind that neighborhood?
No, ma'am.
Do you know what's off to the right of that?
I do.
And what is it?
I believe there's should be a river that runs through there, and then in that direction is going to be all eastbound on West Broad Street, which would consist of Sycamore Drive.
Thank you. you can put the lights back on, Mr. Tharp. Did Ms. Lumpkin indicate anything to you about the appearance of the individual who hijacked her vehicle, anything unusual?
Well, she gave me a physical description of the individual. She described him as a black male. She stated he was in his late 20s, maybe early 30s. She even made the comment, she said, well, he could have been even younger than that. She stated he was 5'7" to 5'8", about 180 to 190 pounds. She stated he had a real close or low haircut. She stated he appeared to be wearing a white shirt that had some type of writing on it, and he appeared to be very sweaty and dirty.
Thank you. Now, other than speaking with Ms. Lumpkin initially and then doing this lineup with her later, did you ever have the occasion to speak or meet with her again pertaining to this particular case?
I did.
And when was that, if you recall?
It was on April the 14th of 2011.
And why was it that you saw Ms. Lumpkin at that point in time, about not quite a month later?
That was to return her vehicle that had been taken on March the 22nd. I believe it was a Geo prison.
And were you the one who actually found that vehicle?
I was not.
And where was it then that you met up with Ms. Lumpkin to turn this vehicle back over to her?
The vehicle was in our evidence or off-site evidence storage over off of College Avenue, and I met up with her over there.
Did you notice anything about Ms. Lumpkin's demeanor on that particular day?
She was still upset on that day when she would talk or reference or remember the incident that happened to her. Because we spoke as I was giving her her vehicle, she had to sign a receipt saying she accepted it. If I remember correctly, I think maybe some of the interior had been cut out of it, so I was just kind of explaining things to her. And as she recalled some of the details that day, I don't know what the specifics are, but I do remember that she was still visibly upset and shaken.
Just one moment. That's all the questions that I have for you. Mr. Hood will have some questions for you.
Morning, Ms. Noah.
Morning.
Do you know what happened on Sycamore Drive? Did you see what happened?
I did not.
Did you know what made me pull that gun out and shoot it? Did you know that?
I do not.
So you couldn't tell the jury why I done what I did, did you?
I could not.
Okay, it could have been from one of your officers violating protocol, isn't that right?
Objection to the form of the question, Your Honor. I believe that's argumentative.
Did Ms. Noah tell you I hit her with that gun in the back?
She did not.
Okay. Do you think that I have an opportunity to hit Ms. Deborah Locker with that gun?
I did.
Okay. Do you think I had an opportunity to kill Ms. Deborah Locker so she couldn't come to court and testify on me?
I do.
Okay. Did I do that?
You did not.
Okay. Isn't it true Ms. Locker told you I was going to put her car down so she could get it back? Isn't it true?
She did say that.
Did Ms. Locker tell you I had some cocaine in her car?
She did not.
Where does cocaine come from then? Y'all say y'all labeled it found.
I'm not familiar with any cocaine.
So you don't know nothing about no cocaine being found in no car, no pills, no cocaine, or nothing like that?
I do not.
So, why would they say that then? They found some cocaine in her car.
I can't testify to what someone else would say. I can only testify to what I know.
Okay. How long you been in law enforcement, sir?
About 20 years.
About 20 years. So you say you did identification with Ms. Locker, is that correct?
Photo lineup, that's correct.
Okay, but you know about the procedure, like due process, photos, just say identification in general, do it have due process involved in that?
I object to the defendant asking the detective about legal standards and legal standards. I don't think that's proper testimony by the detective.
You want to respond to that?
Yes, I'm talking about procedure. Due process is the correct way that you do it. I want to talk about the procedures as far as identification.
Rephrase the question. I'll sustain the objection.
Okay.
No, it's different. The question asked.
Yes, sir.
Ask it another way.
Yes, sir. Detective, don't y'all have procedures that you follow for identification?
That we do. There is, I believe, it's a policy or procedure for that.
Okay, it's a policy procedure. You would agree with that, right?
I will.
Okay. Would it be common practice or proper procedure for an officer to tell a victim or a so-called victim that you got a suspect right here?
No, it would not.
Tell the jury why you weren't supposed to do that.
You don't want to do anything that would jeopardize the procedure. You don't want to have anything that's suggestive. You want to show a lineup, let the individual look at the lineup, and if they recognize someone in the lineup, then they recognize them, and if they don't recognize somebody in the lineup, then they don't recognize them.
So you would agree it'll be illegal for an officer to just in any identification, hey, this is your suspect right here?
So ask that one more time.
Would you agree it will be illegal for an officer to suggest to a victim or alleged victim, hey, we got your suspect right here?
I would object if the form of that question is asked.
But you would agree that you don't tell anybody, hey, this is suspect right here. You agree with that?
That's correct. That would be improper.
Okay, thank you. Now, sir, you say you participated in a manhunt. You say you participated in the manhunt. You had many different agencies looking for.
I did.
I'm the man y'all was looking for, right?
That's correct.
You would agree I'm the man that is identification too, right?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm the same man they were looking for too, isn't it?
You are.
Okay. Did y'all catch me? Did I turn myself in?
I was not present when that happened, but I understand that you surrendered, yes.
Okay. I called y'all. Y'all didn't catch me, did you?
I
You
don't-
understand?
Yeah, my understanding is, I'm not exactly sure how we came to know, or how the officers or FBI or GBI came to know of your location.
No further question this time, Your Honor. But I would have him serve the recall on different matters while he's here.
We're right.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You may go now. Call your next witness.
The state would call Tammy McWhorter. Ma'am, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. You can have a seat. And if you could please state your name and spell your name for the record.
Tammy McWhorter, McWhorter.
Okay? And Tammy, is that Tammy or?
Tammy.
Okay. And Ms. McWhorter, where are you from?
I'm from Athens.
Okay. And back in 2011, where were you living?
Windy Hill Way.
All right. And do you have any children?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
2,
Okay. And what are their ages?
22 and 30.
Okay. Back on March 22nd of 2011, how old was your 22-year-old?
18, I think.
Okay. And was that a son?
Yeah, my son.
Was he in school somewhere?
Yes, it was.
Where was he in school?
Clark Central High School.
Okay. And do you know a person by the name of Deborah Lumpkin?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Deborah Lumpkin?
She's a friend of mine.
Back on March 22nd of 2011, do you recall seeing Deborah Lumpkin at your house?
Yes, I do.
Was that on Windy Hill Way?
Yes, it was.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 16. And Your Honor, if I could, we've got them already. If I can have the lights, please. You can take a look at State's Exhibit 16. 16 and ask me, answer the following question. Where did you live on Windy Hill Way?
From up there?
Well, just from talking to me, did you live in the middle of Windy Hill Way? Did you live on the corner? Where did you live?
In the middle, kind of like in the middle.
Okay, were you close to Windy Hill Court?
Oh, yeah, I was on Windy Hill Way, but my duplex was on the end.
Okay, and do you see on that map where Windy Hill Court and Windy Hill Way intersect?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, were you on the end right there?
Right.
Okay. All right. And if I could have the lights back again, please. Ms. McWhorter, when you came into contact with Deborah Lumpkin that day, were you expecting to see her?
No.
Okay. When she came to your house, when you saw her at her house, at your house, at your duplex, did she have a car?
No.
Was that unusual?
Yes.
Why was that unusual?
Because she lived in Watkinsville, she couldn't walk to my house.
Okay. When you saw Ms. Deborah Lumpkin that day, how did she appear to you?
She was distraught,
Okay.
crying
And
and stuff,
she was, I'm sorry?
crying and stuff.
Okay. And what did she tell you that happened to her?
She said that some guy had came from behind the building, behind my apartment duplex, and got in the car with her.
And what did he do?
She said he just told her to drive.
Okay. And did he do anything else after that?
No, as far as I know, she said he told her to get out the car, and she walked back to my house.
Okay. And when she walked back to your house, what did you do at that time?
Well, I wasn't there at first, but when I pulled up from picking my son up from school, she was already on the porch crying, waiting for me.
Okay. And did you talk to her about what happened?
Well, she asked me would I take her to try to find the car, because it was actually her mother's car. And I told her no, she just needed to call the police, because I wasn't finna go try to find nobody that stole my car.
Did you start to drive her back to her home in Watkinsville?
I took her to Watkinsville to meet with a police officer at the racetrack.
Okay. And after that, did you have anything further to do with this case?
No.
The vehicle that she was talking about that was her mother's, was that a Chevy Prism?
Yeah, right, silver
Silver?
grill.
And you said that she was distraught and crying. Can you tell me how she was acting? How was she talking and things like that?
I mean, she was just, crying, she was upset, she said that she wanted to try to get her mother's car back, and she was just nervous and scared and crying.
Ms. McWhorter, those are all the your address in Windy Hill Way, was that in Clark County?
Yes.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have. Please answer any questions the defense might have.
Okay.
I have no question.
You may go down now.
Your Honor, may Ms. McWhorter be excused?
Any objection?
No, sir.
You're excused. Call your next witness.
David, call Mike Brooks, Your Honor. You can please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Hold to the microphone. State your name and spell your name for the record.
My name is Michael Brooks, Michaelbrooks.
And sir, where are you employed?
I'm employed as a special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, assigned to our Region 10
Atlanta field office.
How long have you been employed with the Georgia Bureau of Investigations as a special agent?
I've been with the Bureau for approximately 8.5 years now.
And prior to your going into the agency, were you in law enforcement before that?
No, I was not.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about where you've been assigned as far as your time with the Georgia Bureau of Investigations.
When I first came over with the Bureau, I was originally assigned to our Region 3 Americas Field Office down in Americas, Georgia. I spent about 2 years, a little over 2 years assigned to that field office, and got transferred to our Region 8 office in Cleveland, Georgia, and spent about 4 years at that office. And then approximately 2 years ago, I was transferred to our Region 10 office in Atlanta.
And specifically, what areas do you work in for as a special agent for the Georgia Bureau of Investigations?
My specialty is crime scene examination. I'm one of the original crime scene specialists.
Back on March 22nd of 2011, where were you, which office were you employed in at that time?
Back at that time, I was assigned to the Region 8 field office up in Cleveland.
And did you have a reason to come to Athens, Georgia on March 22nd of 2011?
Yes, I did.
Why did you come to Athens on that day?
I was contacted by my assistant special agent in charge, advised me there had been a shooting in Athens, that one officer was injured. One police officer was deceased on the scene, and they were still looking for the subject of the shooting. They requested additional crime scene support at that location.
And where did you respond to when you came to Athens on March 22nd, 2011?
I responded to the initial crime scene on Sycamore Drive, met up with the primary crime scene specialist, ASAC Jeff Rossler, who was a special agent at the time.
And did Agent Rossler have any, did he assign you to any specific work that he needed assistance with?
Yes, he advised me that there had been a vehicle was suspected to have been used in this investigation, that the vehicle had been found on Airport Drive. He requested that I proceed to that location and process that vehicle.
And did you do that?
Yes, I did.
And approximately what time of day did you respond to the location on Airport Drive where the vehicle was found?
It was later on in the afternoon. I started my processing about 6:20, 6:22 in the evening.
And what type of vehicle were you processing?
I was processing a Chevy Prism, a small four-door car.
And what was the color of that vehicle?
Silver.
And take the jury through a little bit about processing a vehicle. How do you start the process of processing a vehicle?
Yes, once we get to that location, we determine if we need a search warrant, if we have consent search, whatever the process may be. I always start with taking initial photographs of the exterior of the vehicle, photographing on every side, around, front, back, VIN number, the license plate, any specific markings, the name of the vehicle. I'll photograph through windows if we can. If I can open the doors, I'll go ahead and open the doors at that point. Photograph the interior of the vehicle to go ahead and get initial photographs of the way the vehicle sits, position as it sits, the condition of the doors, windows, and everything on the interior before we start moving and touching the vehicle.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked and admitted as a state 699, 700, and 701. Do you recognize what's captured in States Exhibit 699, 700, and 701?
Yes, I do.
And what does State 699, 700, and 701 show?
These are photographs from around the exterior of the vehicle that I processed on that date, showing the front, side, and the back, showing the license plate.
And those appear to be photographs that you took on March 22nd, 2011 of that Chevy Prism?
Yes, they are.
State would now show you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 705, 706, 707, 708, 709, 710, 711, 712, and 713, and 714. Agent Brooks, I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit 705 through 714 and tell me if you recognize those items.
Yes, I do.
Okay, what does State's Exhibit 705 through 714 appear to be?
They're photographs that I took of the car, continue to take the photographs. We take as many photographs as I deem necessary. Digital film is free, so I can take as many photographs, and they're just continuing pictures of around the exterior of the vehicle.
And do State's Exhibit 705 through 714 truly and accurately depict the Chevy Prism as you saw it on March 22nd of 2011?
Yes, they do.
State would move to admit State's Exhibit 705 through 714 at this time.
Any objection? No, sir, Your Honor.
Ms. Davis, if I could have those items back. And if I could have the lights, please. Showing you what State's 699. What does State's Exhibit 699 appear to show?
That's the front of the vehicle, looking from the front towards the back as it was parked out on Airport Drive. Just showing the make of the vehicle, the Chevy. And then in the back of that, you can see kind of a white truck with the doors open. That's my crime scene truck that I had at the time. That's my vehicle at the scene.
And Agent Brooks, I believe there's a laser pointer on right in front of you. If that would assist you.
Okay.
The white area that you're talking, the white vehicle you're talking about behind the vehicle, where are you talking about?
Right here. That's the truck. The doors are open on either side. You can kind of see in there.
Okay. State's Exhibit 700, what does that appear to show?
That's just a photograph from the passenger side of the vehicle where it was found, showing that the doors are shut at the time of the examination. You can see this building here, which was there. Just kind of the general area of the location of the vehicle.
State's Exhibit 701, what does that appear to show?
That's a photograph from the rear of the vehicle. If you can tell, right here's the license plate showing the make, the model of the vehicle, and then the location to, I believe this was the airport right here.
State's 705, does that appear to be a further back photograph of what we just saw in 701?
Correct. It's further back. When we take our photographs, we do overall medium and up close photography. So it's just kind of overall in the setting, closer on, and then close up to a specific item.
State's Exhibit 706, what does that appear to be?
This is a close-up photography of the rear of the vehicle, denoting the license plate of the vehicle right here for identification purposes.
Okay. Does it also have the make and model printed on the back of that vehicle as well?
It does. It shows the Chevy emblem here, shows where it was purchased, and the Prism, the type of vehicle it was.
State 709, what does that appear to show?
It's just a medium-range photograph of the vehicle from the front driver's area here, looking back towards the vehicle. Shows the driver's side of the vehicle, the condition of the doors. You can sort of see the driver's window is partially down.
This is the area where you're photographing this vehicle. Is this a drive? What kind of area are you in as you're photographing this?
Just a little abandoned area. The road, just dirt right there. There was a building probably used at some point for maintenance at the airport, but it was just right off the main hardball road there.
And did this appear to be a fairly, obviously you saw the field on the other side of the airport was, but did the other side, did that appear to be a wooded area?
Yes, on either side, the passenger driver's side, it was a heavily wooded area. The street was back behind it, and then the airport in front of it.
State's Exhibit 710, what does that appear to show?
It's just a medium range photography of the side of the vehicle on the driver's side, again denoting the condition of the doors. They were both shut at the time of the examination, and a better picture of the fact that the driver's windows 3/4 of the way up.
Okay. Does that appear to be the wooded area in the background as well?
Yes, you can see the wooded area back behind it.
State's Exhibit 712 show?
712, it's kind of a grainy photograph. It's an up-close photograph of the VIN plate located at the driver's window, front window in the corner there. You can see kind of the dust and pollen and dirt around it, but you can see the VIN number right here.
And did you record the VIN number as part of your overall investigation of this vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall what that VIN number was by chance? I know it's difficult to read off the photograph, but
I do. I have it denoted in my notes, yes.
and is that something, if you could, do you have your notes with you here today?
Yes.
Would it help to refresh your recollection to see your notes to see what that VIN number was?
Yes.
Okay, if you could do that for me, please.
Okay.
And what is that VIN number?
It's a 1, Y as in Yankee, 1, S as in Sierra, K as in Kilo, 52811, Z as in Zebra, 432639.
Show you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit 713. What does that appear to show?
This photograph's an exterior photograph up close. We're on the driver's side. Again, the window's 3/4 of the way down. Just looking into the vehicle. If I can, and it's possible to photograph inside the vehicle before opening the doors, that's what I'll do. This opportunity was here, so I photographed it, denoting the driver's seat, passenger seat, and then the handicap placard laying in the passenger seat there.
Do you see something also laying in the floorboard of the passenger side of the vehicle, front passenger side?
Yes, right here is a cup, and I can't remember if it was from Zaxby's or Sonic's. I believe it was a sweet tea cup that had spilled in the floor. There was a lemon laying there as well, and the floorboard was down.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 715 through 725. You can take a look at State's Exhibit 715 through 725 for me, please. And do you recognize State's Exhibits 715 through 725?
I do, yes.
And what does State's Exhibit 715 through 725 appear to be?
They're photographs I took of the interior of the vehicle.
And do those photographs truly and accurately depict the interior of that vehicle as you saw it on March 22nd of 2011?
Yes, they do.
State would move to admit State's Exhibits 715 through 725 at this time.
I should have looked at all of them. Yes, sir, I got to look at them all, some on the inside of them. Said something about the cocaine, they like, I want to see that.
state would move to amend 715 to 725, Your Honor.
No, they would.
Agent Brooks, once you photograph the outside of the vehicle and get the outside photos that you're taking, what do you do after you photograph the outside of the vehicle?
After I photograph the outside, then I'll photograph the interior of the vehicle. That way, every item is in the place as I found the vehicle before we start moving anything and searching it.
Okay. If I could have the lights again, please. Show you State's Exhibit 715. What does that appear to show?
That's a photograph of the driver's door. I've opened it. I photographed it, the door specifically. When I initially opened it and started my photography, I noticed some stains in this general area, so I was photographing those.
Show you State's Exhibit 716. And ask if you recognize State's Exhibit 716.
I did. It's an up-close photograph of the area I just showed on the driver's door. It's a little cloth armrest area, and you can kind of see some stain and discoloration here.
Show you State's Exhibit 717. Recognize that photo?
I do. It's just a photograph from the driver's door looking into the vehicle. Driver's seat, passenger seat, center console area.
State's Exhibit 718. What does that appear to show?
It's just another photograph kind of bracketing or blocking the photograph. Here's driver's seat, passenger seat, steering wheel, center console area.
Okay. And what is appeared to be in the floorboard there, if you can recall?
I don't remember. I don't remember if it was a bag or a sleeve or something. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
State's Exhibit 718. What is that? Back that up for a second. What does that appear to show?
That's just a photograph looking at the center console leaning into the vehicle. At this point, I still don't want to get inside the vehicle. Photographing the center console, the position of the shift lever. Sometimes they may be in drive, neutral, which I didn't note that as well. It also shows a photograph of the cup.
And State's Exhibit 720. What does that appear to show?
This photograph was taken with the driver's side rear door open, looking into the back seat of the vehicle, denoting the passenger side, or the driver's side, passenger side, and then a McDonald's bag.
What does that appear to show?
This is just a photograph from the passenger side of the vehicle, looking at the same back seat, passenger side rear door, passenger seat with the phone book, driver's side rear seat, and again that McDonald's bag in the center center area.
State's Exhibit 723. What does that appear to show?
This photograph is a photograph of the front passenger side floorboard of the vehicle. There's the lemons that I spoke of earlier, the cup. Looking at now, I believe it's actually going to be a McDonald's sweet tea cup. And then these were vehicle registration papers that were on the floorboard, and you can see the dampness where the liquid is still standing in the floorboard.
And did that, with the water spilled in the floorboard, did that appear to be spilled recently?
Yes, I believe it had been spilled very recently.
State's Exhibit 724. What does that appear to show?
It's just a up-close photograph of that same general area. You got the lemon in the spot here. You got the insurance card, denoting the name, the make and model of the vehicle, the VIN number here.
And if I turn that sideways, does that show the model, make and model of a Chevy Prism?
It does. You can see make right here, Chevy, model Prism, the vehicle identification number, auto policy number, the effective dates, and the name of who is insured on the vehicle.
And what was the name of the person that was insured on the vehicle?
Elmer Shaw.
I'll show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 725 and ask you what that appears to be.
This is an up-close photograph I'd taken. This is going to be in the driver's door, the little change holder up top near where the door handle was. You've got a quarter and then this small bag with a white powdery substance in it.
And after you photograph items of the interior of the vehicle, what do you do?
Once I photograph everything in the vehicle is when I begin my search of the vehicle, and as I search and find items that I deem can be evidence, I'll photograph them and go ahead and collect those items.
And did you collect items in this case?
I did.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 726 and ask if you recognize this item.
Show them outside and then we'll bring it back.
Okay.
Do you recognize State's Exhibit 726?
Yes, I do.
And what is State's Exhibit 726?
This item is a brown paper bag. On the front of the paper bag, it has handwritten case identification number, evidence receipts number, which at the time was a piece of paper that we used to record items of evidence in the chain of custody, the county, who collected it, and then the item numbers on it as well. On the back of the sheet of paper, or this paper is where it was folded. I provided with evidence tamper-proof tape, which means it's easily tearable if somebody tries to get to the bag, and it contains my initials as being the one who sealed this bag.
And if you could please open up State's Exhibit 726. And do you recognize the contents of State's Exhibit 726?
Yes, I do.
And what were the contents of State's Exhibit 726?
This was one bag was what's left of the wrap that we spoke of earlier, that photograph that had the plastic bag with the white powdery substance in it, this retainer bit, and then one of the small bottle containing the blue pills as well.
So if I go back real quickly with the lights, the bag that you're referring to in 725, is this 725 a picture of what you're referring to as part of the contents of State's Exhibit 726?
Yes, so the bagging portion of it is. The actual material that was in it is no longer in it, but the actual bag is what is left there.
Okay. Did you collect State's Exhibit 725 on March 22nd, 2011?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you place it in State's Exhibit 726 as part of your evidence processing?
Yes.
Okay. And does that also have additional Georgia Bureau of Investigation's crime lab tape on that bag?
Yes, it does.
And what does that signify to you?
This item was turned over to the Department of Forensic Science lab for testing. Those items were tested to see what they were. The lab will open the bag in a separate location, open the bag, test the items, place items back in the bag, reseal them with their tape and the scientist's initials. And also, they'll put a Department of Forensic Science barcode label on it that gives a unique identifier for the Forensic Science, Department of Forensic Science case number and the item number, so it can be tracked through their system as well.
move to admit State's Exhibit 726 at this time, Your Honor.
One moment, don't, put it back in the bag, but.
Sir, could you identify this, whatever this is, the little thing, whatever it is?
Okay. Why don't you finish looking at them and then I'll go ahead and do that.
Get back to the page. Agent Brooks, aside from the plastic bag that contained the white powdery substance that you referred to, what else was contained in State's Exhibit 726?
It's another bag that has a small plastic bottle, for lack of a better term, that has some blue pills that were contained within. I found the same general area as the previously mentioned item, the white powdery substance in the bag.
And did you place all those items in State's Exhibit 726 and seal that bag?
And then any potential drug evidence goes in what we call a block bag, which is a plastic bag that has like glue tape on it that's sealed, which I seal. And then when the lab opens those items up, they cut the bottom of the bag and heat seal them again, and that's what is reflected in these bags.
State will move to admit State's Exhibit 726, Your Honor.
No, sir, no.
And if you could hold those up so the jury can understand what you're talking about with the plastic bag inside of the paper bag that they've seen.
Yes, any item that we collect, put in these block bags, they keep them separate so that the material won't actually leak out if there's any in there. It's supposed to be proof. You can kind of see the red glue here. You can see, I mean, I can't pull it apart. It's going to rip the bag for the most part if I try to open it up. And then the scientists always cut the bottom of the bag to let the item, whatever material's in it, come out on their testing counter, and then they heat seal that back with a heat gun. And contained within inside is the actual wrapping from that that we talked about, and then another one with small bottles with the blue pills that are contained inside.
Thank you. You can place those items back inside of the bag of State's Exhibit 726. I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit 727. Tell me if you recognize State's Exhibit 727.
I do, again, it's a brown paper bag, has case-specific information on it to include the evidence receipt number that I used to track evidence as I collected it, the county, the date of incident, and then the items that are contained within the bag. Again, it has the tamper-proof tape on the back of it, where it has my initials where I sealed the bag.
And if you could open up and look inside of State's Exhibit 727, tell us what the contents of that bag are.
Contained within that bag is two smaller bags as we separate evidence. Both bags contain writing on them, my handwriting, providing the evidence receipt number that these items are tracked on and the item number. And these are contained within there are boxes that contain swabs.
And did you collect swabbings from this Chevy Prism?
I did.
Can you please tell the jury where you collected swabbings of and what your, explain that process to them?
Okay. What we use sterile swabs, and essentially they're like a Q-tip on a long wooden stick, and they're sterile swabs. We can use those to collect DNA or sample stains, collect those stains that can be tested later on in the lab. I took two different swabs in this particular case. One swab was of the glove compartment box area, and one swab was the steering wheel. The steering wheel was swabbed for the purposes of obtaining any potential type of DNA, contact DNA. You swab the area, maybe pick up DNA that may be present on the steering wheel. I glove compartment was swabbed because during my processing, knowing that there had been a shooting, and the likelihood of transfer of blood from one scene to another, I used a chemical called Blue Star. And what Blue Star does is it reacts with the proteins in the blood and it illuminates them. They basically glow in the dark. If you watch CSI or some of those TV shows, they spray a little spray and it turns like a bright blue purple color that glows. That's what this does. I got a positive indication of something. It doesn't necessarily mean it's blood. There are other things that it could react with, but I got an indication. As far as I'm going to go from there is I'm going to photograph and try to swab if I can, if it's dark enough to get the photograph. And then I'm going to swab the area. If there's blood there, hopefully to pick that item up and it can be tested later in the lab.
And is 727, the contents of that, are those the items that you collected from the Chevy Prism with swabbings on that day of March 22nd, 2011?
Yes, it is. It's both swabbings, the glove compartment and the steering wheel.
State would move to admit State's Exhibit 727 at this time.
Any objection? I'd just like to see on the no objection. No objection. All right. There's no issue.
Going to show you what's been stated. Show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 728. What does State's Exhibit 728 appear to be?
State's Exhibit 728, again, is a paper bag that we used to collect evidence with, again with the case-specific information on it to include the evidence receipt that I used to denote this item of evidence. It's loaded as item number 3, which is a handicap placard that we spoke about earlier. The bag is sealed again with tamper-proof tape and again has my initials as the original sealer of the bag.
And if you could open up State's Exhibit 728 and tell me if you recognize the contents of that bag.
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize the contents of State's Exhibit 728 to be?
It's the handicap placard that we spoke about earlier in the photographs. It was laying in the passenger seat of the vehicle when I initially photographed it.
Okay. And did you do anything else with that handicap placard aside from collect it?
I did not know. I just collected it, packaged it.
Okay. State would move to admit State's Exhibit 728 this time.
Any objection? No, sir. Your Honor.
Show us marked as State's Exhibit 729. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 729?
I do, yes, sir.
Or what does State's Exhibit 729 appear to be?
Again, a evidence bag, same case-specific information in my handwriting on the front. Describes item 1, cloth from the door we spoke about earlier with the tamper-proof tape on the back of it with my initials as well.
And if you could open up State's Exhibit 729 and tell us if you recognize the contents of that bag.
Yes, I do.
And what does State 729 contain?
It's the cloth from the driver door that we spoke about earlier that I marked with the pin there showing the stains. It's that item.
Okay. Explain a little bit about that. You saw markings on the driver's side door. What is the cloth? Give them a little more information about that as far as your investigation.
Yes, looking at the inside of the vehicle, obviously I've never been in that vehicle. I don't know what was common to the vehicle and what's not common to the vehicle. Based on the facts and circumstances as I was explaining the case, again, thinking there might be some type of transfer of blood from one scene to another. I noticed the stains. They were darker in color. Typically when we describe blood, we use the term reddish brown stain. That way we can say it's a stain of some sort. We'll collect that item. I pulled this whole item out in whole, collected it and packaged it. Eventually it would go to a lab and they would further analyze it and break down the sections as they test it. But that's what
And where was that item removed from?
That's removed from the driver's door, above the driver's armrest, near where the door handle would be.
State would move to State's Exhibit 729.
No, sir, no.
I'll show you State's Exhibit 730. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 730?
The packaging, no, but can I look inside the packaging?
If that would help you look
Yes.
inside it, please do so.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you didn't recognize the yellow manila envelope, but looking inside it, do you recognize what was inside that yellow manila envelope?
Yes, I do.
And what was inside that yellow manila envelope?
Another evidence bag, again, my handwriting on the outside denoting the case number, or the evidence receipt number, the date, the location. This is item 2, late and lift backing cards. Again, the bag is sealed with tamper-proof tape with my initials on it.
Okay. And how many late and lift cards did you collect? Do you see there in State's Exhibit 730?
Yes, I took 2.
Okay. And State would move to admit State's Exhibit 730 at this time.
Any objection?
I like to see it. Let's see.
Any objection?
No, sir, no.
Let me,
Agent Brooks, in State's Exhibit 730, those are late and lift cards that you took at the scene from the Chevy Prism?
Yes, they are.
If you could tell the jury about that process that you went through to collect prints. in the
Yes,
safe.
after photographing the exterior and interior of the vehicle and doing a search, went ahead and processed the exterior of the vehicle for latent prints. Basically, I used black magnetic powder. I'm looking for a contrast, looking for any fingerprints that's not visible to the naked eye. I dusted the vehicle on the driver's side near the trunk, on the trunk area, on the driver's side. I found some areas of ridge detail, which were consistent with finger and or palm prints. I photographed that area, then I used a fingerprint lifting tape to lift that area. The prints where I dusted and placed them on a backing card, but basically holds them to be examined later by a latent print examiner.
And show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 731 and 732. 731 and 732?
Yes.
And what are State's Exhibits 731 and 732?
Two photographs, intermediate close-up photographs of the ridge detail I spoke about earlier on the trunk. One's with the scale, one's without a scale in it.
Okay. State would move into those appear true and accurate as the trunk as it appeared after you dusted it for fingerprints on March 22nd, 2011.
Yes, they are.
State would move to admit State's Exhibit 731 and 732 at this time.
Any objection?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Very good.
After you collected the fingerprints, and obviously, just to make sure we got it, once you dust for the fingerprints, what do you do at that point? Once you see the ridge detail and can view it?
Once I can see the ridge detail, I'll take photographs of the ridge detail with and without a scale. Sometimes the electroprint examiner, just based on the quality of photographs, can use that for their process to make identification. Then I'll also try to lift those fingerprints as well, put them on a backing card so we have those preserved.
And is that what you did in State's Exhibit 730?
Yes, I photographed it and lifted them.
Okay. And once you collected the evidence from the Chevy Prism out on March 22nd, 2011, what did you do at that time after that?
Once we collected that, all the evidence was collected. There was nothing else that we could, at that time, deem to be evidentiary value. The vehicle was turned back over to the Athens Clark County Police Department, and I went back to the primary crime scene to meet up with ASAC Rossler.
And what did you do when you met up with Agent Rossler back at the Sycamore Drive location?
As he was the primary crime scene examiner or investigator in this case, I turned all items of evidence back over to him. I briefed him about my actions as a process in that vehicle. I told him what I had found, turned those items over to him.
And did you sign those items over to him on a receipt for property form as part of your work with the GBI?
Yes, I did.
Those are all the questions I have. Please answer any questions the defense may have.
Mr. Whitman, your comments, sir.
I was looking at the time,
We're going to proceed a little bit longer.
all right. Afternoon, Mr. Brooks.
Afternoon.
How did you come, to be in contact with this case on March 22nd, 2011, sir?
I was contacted by my supervisor at the time, he advised me what was going on in the Region 11 territory, advised me that they needed some assistance. He provided me the address, and I headed to that location.
Excuse me, can y'all hear me over there? Good. Okay. You said you talked to Agent Rose about a Chevy Prism, is that right?
I spoke with ASAC Rossler, and he advised me there was a vehicle. I don't believe he told me the type, but a vehicle that had been recovered that needed to be processed.
How did you come to get in contact with this Prism over there, Airport Road, or Bonneville Road, whatever it was?
I was provided with the recovery location where the vehicle was found. I traveled to that location upon my arrival. There were numerous law enforcement officers in that area. The vehicle had been secured, no one had touched it. I went there and processed it.
Okay, so you weren't aware that Geo Prism, somebody told you about it?
Yes, when I got there and got a brief of what was going on as things were developing, what things needed to be processed, I was advised that this vehicle was found and needed to be processed.
Okay, who was the agent of, the police officer told you about that Geo Prism before you got there? Who was that?
I believe Agent Rossler was the one who told me. He was giving me the brief on what needed to be done, the priorities of work, and what he needed my help with.
So, is it safe to say you weren't the first one that had contact with that Geo Prism in law enforcement?
I wasn't the first. Whoever had found it was the first one to have contact with it. I'm the first one that I'm aware of that did any type of processing and documentation of the vehicle.
So you couldn't tell us who found that, the first one was on the scene? You couldn't give us no name, a name and certain, could you give us something specific?
No, I couldn't tell you who the officer was who found the vehicle.
Okay, how did cocaine get in that car? What you said, the bag, a little bag of cocaine, how did that get in there?
I can't tell you how it got in the car. All I can tell you was it was in the vehicle.
Okay, did anybody say Jamie Wood put some cocaine in that car? Did anybody tell you that?
No, nobody said that to
Okay,
me.
do you have any fingerprints on that cocaine that come back to Jamie Hood? Did somebody tell you about
correct. That's a photograph of the bag that I had found inside the vehicle.
Okay. For the record, Jamie Hood, was my fingerprints anything on there to indicate that I the one put that liquor?
I've not been told of anything that has fingerprints off the bag of cocaine.
Okay. I'd like you to look at exhibit 720, the back seat shirts. Is there some McDonald's bag in the back of that car?
Yes, it appears to be McDonald's food bag.
Okay, McDonald's full bag. Did anybody check that bag, see if my fingerprints on that if I check that bag?
No, I don't believe that was done.
So you have no evidence to say that Jamie Hood went in that McDonald's bag and got the food out of that bag anytime?
I have no forensic evidence that says that now.
Like look at state exhibit 721. That's another bit of that McDonald's bag. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. All we know, food, anything could have been in that. Do you know what was in that bag?
I believe there was some food in it. I don't recall. It seemed insignificant at the time. There was nothing that said it was a priority.
Okay, but you have nothing in there saying Jamie Hood went in that old bag and got him something to eat?
No, I have nothing that says that.
What is it about that phone book right there, sir? There's a phone book, the safe says it's a phone book, what kind of book in that back seat section?
Yes, that's a phone book.
Did it have my fingerprints on there that I didn't test anything?
No, nothing like that was recovered.
But safe to say, have you been told that I'm the woman driving that car?
That was what I was briefed on, yes.
That didn't save us all of the problem, I was one, but I'm just trying to make this, make sure everything's straight. Okay, save all this problem. Now, before you got in that car again, you don't, again, you weren't the first one to that car.
No, I wasn't the person who found the vehicle.
No name, they didn't tell you who the first one that found it or not.
No, I don't think I was provided a name of who the officer or officers who found that vehicle.
Okay, did you come across two 100